There you have it. Please subscribe. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Wednesday night version of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Have me a handful of people, a really great crew. Let me go ahead and bring them up. Candy Ebling, welcome back.
Thanks, Scott. Great to be here.
And JB Ellis, welcome back. Is that a Dolphin shirt?
Yes, it is.
Well, I think our Dolphins followers would love
Number
that.
14. Who was that? Was that
Is that Greasy? Is that Greasy?
I don't know. Well, it's a Dolphin shirt. All right. And Jacob Christner, long time no see, about a minute.
About a minute, yeah.
Yeah, that's all on the Pundits Pundit. And last but not least, a cleaned up smoking Jeremy B. Look at that shirt. My goodness.
You actually dressed up tonight.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Hey, get him in a polo shirt. This guy's going to feel like he's in a tux. Anyways, welcome back, Jeremy. Looks like
good to be here.
Refreshed. So we'll plan to have you on tomorrow, too, if you're going to look like Dapper Jeremy tomorrow on the other Sports Exchange. Anyways, let me go over it, give you an overview. Have a lot of pretty interesting basketball topics to talk about and some other interesting news as well. I'll go ahead and lay it out there. So we have Confidential on the back end of this. And, of course, Jacob Christner and I just left Pundits Pundit. First topic of the night, U-Conn is just the third program in NCAA history to win a national championship with three different head coaches as Danny Hurley joins Jim Calhoun and Kevin Ollie. The two other schools are Kentucky, Adolph Rupp, Rick Pitino, John Calipari, Kansas, Gallen, Larry Brown, Bill Self. All right, we'll go right to left. On my right, JB Ellis. U-Conn, first of all, looked impressive, but what do you think of this group of coaches?
So, I mean, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Mr. Hurley. I remember abusing him when he was in college at a St. John's game when he was playing for Seton Hall. The whole garden was chanting his brother's name. Poor guy had a mental breakdown. I'm glad to see that he got back to the game he loved. Became a great coach, just like his dad. Won a championship. So first of all, I want to start out with that. Second of all, U-Conn looked dominant. The Big East, phenomenal. And, you know, that group of coaches, Rick Pitino, sounds familiar. You're going to be at St. John's next year. We'll see what he can do. But all great coaches, and very glad for U-Conn this year.
Jacob?
Well, at this point in time, we got to make it's kind of like the Rhodes family for wrestling. We got to make the Hurleys a royal family as far as the basketball, because congratulations to them, and congratulations to be able to win. It's people talk about their the road to the Final Four, to the final game, and it was so easy. This year was not easy. No one was easy. Got to remember, a number 16 took out another number 1. You know, you had so many 12s and against 5s. You had so many. If you look at that Sweet 16, and absolutely zero brackets got that Sweet 16. So this wasn't. Everybody talk about this was an easy one compared to no. We're talking about now that all of these players you'll get all these Division I players going to Division III. They'll go to the San Diego States and the FAUs. They go to all of those now. Nothing's easy anymore. So you've earned your title no matter who it's against. If it was a number 16 seed that went to a final, you still earned it. Because this wasn't just there aren't really any Cinderellas anymore like it used to be. Because everybody's got Division I talent. Everybody's got that. It's such a different time. But absolute and utter congratulations to Connecticut, because that's 5 titles now.
Well, what's interesting, again, now we have 3 schools with 3 coaches winning it all. That says a lot about the programs. And it doesn't surprise me so much about Kentucky and Kansas, but Connecticut kind of surprises me a little bit. What do you think, Smoking Jeremy?
What I think is it shows you that they're finally getting the rankings right from top to bottom. And the reason why I say that is you're seeing more of the teams between 9 and 16 going further in the tournament than you used to. It's not as top heavy as it used to. It used to come down where you didn't see anybody above a 4 seed was in the Final Four. To me, it looks like they're finally getting it right.
Okay. Candy?
I'm not surprised with those coaches. Those coaches have been around for forever. I mean, kudos to U-Conn. I honestly think FAU would have probably given them a better game in the finals, only because I think they're a faster paced team. But kudos to all of them. I mean, the fact that there was 3 first timers in the, Final Four, that was great. It was good basketball. It was good to watch, fun to watch. The last game was a little too one-sided, let's put it that way. But kudos to those coaches, because those are, classic coaches.
Well, I mean, Dusty May did a remarkable job at Florida Atlantic. What this kind of reminds me a little bit of was the national championship in football, where TCU beat Michigan, and then all of a sudden, for the national championship game, it was a rout. And I felt some similarities between here. You had some good semifinal games, and all of a sudden, when it came down to the big game, what do you think happened? So, that it is what it is. But yeah, congratulations to U-Conn. They did a remarkable job, and now I believe they've won all their titles, I believe, in the state of Texas, right? I believe
So.
4 in Houston, and I believe 1 in Dallas. So
Yeah.
evidently U-Conn owns part of Texas, even though the state's about 1/100th of the size when you think about the geographic.
Hey, no. Think about this. It's that no state tax that really gets them compared to
Yeah, right. I know. I remember that. That's funny. You talk about no state tax on pundit spending. I'm glad you went out there and brought that up. That was a good topic. All right, next topic. At last check, and I know you're gonna feel at home. And there's a 2-part one here. Tom Thibodeau had tied Mike D'Antoni for 120 wins for the 6th winningest coach in Knicks history. A couple of days later, guess what? Tom Thibodeau notched 122. Then any of the he has 122 than any of the previous 12 coaches, most since Jeff Van Gundy. Well, you know what? It's safe to say James Dolan couldn't screw this up. So, more power to Tom Thibodeau. I'm glad that he found a spot in New York City with the Knicks, and he's made them relevant. JB, I know this one hits you a little bit closer to home. How do you like the job that Tom Thibodeau is doing for the Knicks?
The Knicks finally turned it around a couple of years ago. They're an entertaining team. Are they good? No, they're the best garbage there is. They're towards the middle of the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're a very good team. Thibodeau does what he needs to do. He's a quality coach. He's a winner. He's won wherever he's been. But I don't think it's much to do. I don't think the Knicks are going anywhere anytime soon. I don't foresee them winning championships or anything for years to come. As long as Dolan's involved, he's the kiss of death.
Well, the thing is Thibodeau's winning in spite of James Dolan.
Exactly.
Yeah, he really, really, really is. Okay, go ahead, Jacob.
Let me say this part. Every time I see Thibodeau doing well, I want it to rub into all the Bulls fans, and I'll explain. Every time I think of what they did with Thibodeau and all the complaining and griping, I see Candy knows what I'm talking about. And every time they complain and gripe and groan about Thibodeau and with all those 50 and 60 wins and all the playoff wins and all the everything, and they threw a fit and they wanted him gone. What do? You get Hoiberg and Boylan, the 2 absolute worst coaches you could get in your life. And Boylan once called a timeout on a fast break. So they got that. But then they wanted to throw a fit at Thibodeau. But then they got that. So guess what? They've got Billy Donovan, who's not as Thibodeau, but he's going to be better than any of them. And they're going to run him out too, so get some crap. And that's what fans do. It's why I throw fits all the time. It's why I want front offices to quit listening to him. So, but the thing about Thibodeau is the fact that no matter where he goes, you could bring him to Orlando. You could bring him to Houston. You could bring him anywhere that is happening right now. You could bring him anywhere, and he's going to win. He, as you said, JB, quality coach. And he knows what he's doing out there.
Jeremy?
Thibodeau has always been a hard-nosed, disciplined, defending, teaching coach. That is why their teams win. It isn't because they they go out and score in buckets. But what his problem is that the Stars don't like him. That's why they got rid of Porzingis. They got rid of Porzingis because Porzingis was becoming a headache because he didn't want to do what Tom Thibodeau was teaching the team. And they got a bunch of draft capital in return. He got a bunch of young players, and now he's got that nucleus going in the right direction because they're disciplined. What's going to happen is the same thing that happened in Chicago. The New York fans are not going to be happy with them middling and getting to the playoffs and going 1 or 2 rounds in and failing. They're going to complain. He'll get let go again. They'll hire somebody else, and you'll watch that team fall off. It's what's happened in his entire career.
Candy. Would you love him in Detroit?
Yes. Why? He teaches defense. He should be sent on the first thing smoking right now. I would take Tom Thibodeau right now coaching against the Brooklyn Nets tonight, and I bet you we could win.
Well, let me tell you this. I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob, okay? I do believe, basket bros or no basket bros here, Tom Thibodeau would fit in any era, including the 80s when they played defense with the Chuck Daly's and a lot of the coaches that emphasize it for sure. So that's a good point. Thibodeau could coach anytime. All right, Candy, you have the final word on this one.
His record overall over the 10 years is 476 wins to 355 losses. He, in Chicago, didn't have a season that was under winning percentage of 0.55. He started out really hot in Chicago, and he started climbing back up. He had an off year back in 2013, and then he started climbing back up, but they got him out of there. Minnesota couldn't do anything with him, but Minnesota can't do anything, period. And now the Knicks, they're up and down. You got to support your coach. You got to have, players on the team. The Eastern Conference is a tough conference right now, especially. So they've got a lot of players and a lot of teams that are doing well. But 5th isn't bad. 5th, but Tom Thibodeau, like everybody said, he's a defensive coach. Some players like to play for him and some players don't. And I think you have more in the NBA of the personality clashes and runs people out more so in the NBA than you do in a lot of the other team sports.
Hey, Keegan Eckert, I'll make a deal with you. Subscribe to the South Florida YouTube channel. I'll put you on this show on Wednesday night with the crew because of all shows for you to really tune in on, you're going to like this next topic. So Keegan Eckert, you hear from me. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll bring you on a Wednesday night with this group here. Okay, how's that sound?
It's one of my guys.
Oh, there you go. Like I said, all the more reason. Come on, subscribe, Keegan Eckert, because now the next topic is going to really right up your neck of the woods. Front Office Sports says WWE and UFC merging for $21 billion. Vince McMahon bought WWE in 1981 for $1 million. The full enterprise value of WWE following the Endeavor's acquisition is $9.3 billion. So with that said, okay, JB Ellis, is that a pretty good return on investment?
Listen, owning a league, owning a team, it's like printing money. I don't understand it. I can't imagine how the value is so much, but hey, more power to the people that can do it. I wish I was one of them. I wish I could have, bought the Knicks back when I was like 2 years old. I mean, I'd be a billionaire right now. But,
billionaire.
At 2 years old, I didn't have that kind of money.
Keegan Eckert just did.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll be away next Wednesday, but Candy will be taking over. We'll plan on bringing him on 2 weeks from tonight, Keegan. So get ready to go, my friend.
I can forward him the link.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll be on next Wednesday. I'll be out of town, but the week after that, Keegan, we're looking forward to having you on. And I always say, give me a fresh voice, and we're going to bring you on. Thank you, buddy. All right. So, hey, all right. So, JB, that's as we just talked about moments ago. Did you ever foresee a merger like this between UFC and WWE? That's my question to you, JB.
I'll be honest. It makes sense on paper. I don't like it because to me they're kind of competitors, and it goes down to that monopoly type thing. Because even though they're two different businesses, they kind of compete for the different things that are going on, the different pay-per-views, and even for the fans' interest. And now that they've kind of combined, to me, I don't like it. I'd rather see them go separate and, run their own businesses. But, not my money, not my business. I get it.
Would have thought Dana White and Vince McMahon were talking on this show, but you know what? When I saw it, there was no way I could avoid that topic. And with that said, Jacob Christner, give me your thoughts on it.
Well, Vince bought it for 4 balloon payments, $250,000 for like $1 million back in '82, and now it's $9.2 billion. So yeah, you got a great ROI. But there's one thing that scares me with all this, and I will say this: the WWE has been doing so darned well with building men's divisions and women's divisions. They just, the names, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, all of these, Becky Lynch, which, I mean, they have all of those. But there's a thing that scares me now that you got to remember the WWE's, their style is now Marvel movie, like flip around Marvel movie and stuff like that. Knowing that this is a legitimate corporate world, not just the family corporate like WWE, it's going to worry me. They're going to try to put Roman Reigns versus Becky Lynch in there and give them a good fight. And it's like, even though she weighs about 125. And that's going to be, because considering the fact, the thing is, because it's pro wrestling, there's always that little, even though we know it's choreographed, there's always that thought process. Oh my God, it's a great match. It's a fight. All that stuff, it kind of blurs lines. So you're going to get people over there that have that thought process that could be a legitimate competitive fight. But if you promote it as such, and because Impact Wrestling already tried doing the same thing, and it's like, it's not fair to try to put that onto the thing right now because you wouldn't do it with the UFC, try to put a woman versus a man, not with the size differentials. So that's one of the things that scares me now that it's owned corporate.
Very, very interesting. So with that said, Candy, why don't you give everybody a little bit of a mini break and let them know how they can find us?
So if you see that red subscribe button in the lower right corner, please hit it. Like us, share us with all your friends. If you want to comment and if you want to come on one of these broadcasts, give us some ideas. Send us some topic ideas to southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call us at 954-304-4941. We're live on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And if you like the audio version, you can listen to us on iHeartRadio, Google, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Or you take the Keegan Eckerd route, okay, and you watch us, and then we tell you you're going to come on Wednesday night or whatever show, and then that's another way to get yourself on here. And I like to bring in new, fresh people. So while Mr. Ballreich decided to go out there and probably get his Mountain Dew or wherever he's at.
He's trying to get it for you.
Yeah, I know he is. Yeah, he's going to send it through the computer. We'll let Candy take a stab at it and give him the last word.
WWE booked last year revenue of $1.3 billion. It surpassed 16 billion social video views in the final quarter of last year. They have 94 million YouTube subscribers and more than 20 million followers on TikTok. They're huge. I mean, it'll be interesting to see because they're actually the new company is they're going to trade on the New York Stock Exchange under the TKO ticker symbol. It's going to be interesting, all the media that they do provide and what kind of contracts they upheld when they sell to who wants the rights to keep holding us on TV. Or are they going to, are they going to build their own? You never know. Jeremy, go ahead. Your turn.
Dana White made a brilliant move in the long run. As much money as that thing, it's been a cash cow for years. That's why the McMahon family has been able to do what they do. And he had to get rid of it soon anyways because there's way too much crap coming out.
Well, all I say is keep Vince McMahon out of the XFL. Everybody will be happy because he's already bombed there twice. So. All right, well, I've got a topic here that nobody in their right mind would come up with, but that's why I'm never in my right mind anyways. All right,
who accused you of that?
Huh?
Who accused you of being in the right mind?
Well, maybe he was once upon a time.
There was
Were you right, Candy?
Thank you, Jacob.
Every so often there comes a topic that, even us insane individuals come up with, but this one was too good to not put on this broadcast. And besides, I didn't think Rick Curdy would have an opinion on this one. That's why it's on. So just kidding with you. All right, Rick, if you're watching, wherever you're at. So we're going to talk about pro fishermen.
Sweet.
Pro fishermen. How do I make pro fishermen interesting? And you know what? If you're a Chicago person, you'll understand why.
I think I know where you're going with this.
All right, well, you know what? I'm going to let you lead off with it, and then I'm going to start with you and work our way around. Okay? Dustin Bufflin, is that what his name is?
Bufflin, yeah.
Yeah,
Used to be a
okay.
hockey player.
Yeah, I know. I used to play for the Chicago Blackhawks, if I remember. Okay. Has become a pro fisherman, and after retiring from the NHL, he's finishing at the top of several tournaments. He's been on the Champions Tour for about over 4 years, and he has 3 big bags tournament top 10 finishes. Only here will I am talking about pro fishermen. Now, I have to make a confession. I was never a good fisherman because I was always making too much noise, so not that any of you people would ever be surprised. Anyways, that when I got my hook near there now many years ago when I was young in the lake in Michigan, it was good. But, when I was up in the Asheville area with a friend of mine, I tried to hook. Oh, they got the heck away from me. So Dustin Bufflin, I'll probably do a better job spelling it than I will pronounce it. We're going to lead off with Jacob on this one. Was that where I was going there, Jacob?
Absolutely. No, actually it was, because I read on the deal. But this is the thing about pro athletes. They just always, and athletes in general, they always figure it out. They always figure it out. Like whatever sport it is. I mean, you could give them tennis. They used to show Wayne Gretzky doing those little they do those little charity things like with other pro athletes and go race, and then he blows everybody away, like against Bjorn Borg and all of them. They just figure something out. It doesn't surprise me that Dustin Bufflin did on something like this, because even if he, for one thing, maybe he fished, maybe he didn't. Maybe he did that since he was 6 years old or 7 years old. Maybe he just picked up a pole one day and figured it out. This is what athletes do. As like I said, whether it's by size, whether it's with their pure size and their pure bulk, or their mind for any kind of game, or their ability to pick things up fast because of being a pro athlete, they are superhuman. This is part of the thing about this is why I don't like fans and trying to blast up on athletes. No matter if you're on the 12th man or the star, you're a superhuman. You're going to figure something out and you're going to get blown away by. And so him winning all of these fisherman tournaments, it wouldn't have shocked me if he never picked up a pole and then won all these, because this is what athletes do.
Well, I will say this, and now Keegan, we are doing a sports exchange next Wednesday night, but you're coming on 2 weeks. I want to be on here with you. Candy will be running the show, and she'll be on Pundits Fun it next Wednesday doing the doubleheader while I'm out in Tampa, unless I can figure some things out. So be ready to go, Keegan, and I'll make sure you have plenty to talk about. All right, with that said, Mr. Smoking Jeremy B., give me your thoughts about pro fisherman Dustin Bufflin as a whole.
I know as much about pro fishing as I do pro bowling.
Okay.
Which is not at all. But I will say there is a pro fisherman on the Detroit Lions. His name is Frank Ragnow. He has his own show called Grizzly Man Outdoors on YouTube. That's about all I got for you.
Well, another thing there, I should say, not only Frank Ragnow, wasn't Joe Thomas on a boat when he got drafted there for the NFL draft fishing? Yep. Well, good. Yep. Now you know 2 things. Quit while you're ahead, Jeremy. I'm sure you're partying.
I'm done.
But that's okay. Hey, listen, you've come a long way learning other stuff, but I never expected you to take the fisherman's shot here. Okay, JB, obviously I'd be familiar with old Dustin.
So, I mean, Scott, you do realize baseball's in its first week. The NBA's got like 3 games left. The NHL's got like 3 games left before we get to the playoffs. And we're talking fishing.
Absolutely.
Fishing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I know exactly pickleball next week. Can we get a pickleball topic?
Absolutely. I'll do it.
No. Candy's the one who's going to be doing it. I know what baseball is, but right now.
Pickleball's fun. I like pickleball.
Let me give you a lesson, JB Ellis, that I learned many, many years ago, okay? And I'm doing that in front of a national audience here, okay? You still have parting shots if you want to talk about baseball. So you remember that's wide open, not limited to anything. And number 2, my mentor, Andy Lascano, always said to be different. And he made it all the way to the number 2 market in the TV business. So when I preach the gospel about Andy Lascano being different, I'm definitely taking it to a new level with Dustin.
And all I'm going to say to Jacob's comment, you know what? I challenge Dustin any day of the year, and I've been fishing 3 times. I will be the champion. You want to know why? Because I am superhuman. I don't lose. Sideline Sports is number 1. The South Florida Tribune's number 1. we are super.
1 and 1A. It's 1 and 1A.
There you go.
So forget this, Dustin, whatever his name is. We're talking real sports. Fishing is relaxing. It's not a sport.
This is JB's way of saying I don't know crap about fishing.
Oh, that's okay. Well, but you know what, JB? As my mom always said, keep an open mind.
Oh, listen, to me, fishing's not a sport. It's a way to relax.
Good.
You know?
Well, then
So
you know
there's nothing
that
wrong
much.
with it.
Then you know that much about it, and I'm counting on a parting shot from you to talk about baseball. How does that way? That way we don't miss anything. Okay. With that said,
Hey, Jeremy, you look like Scott's younger brother with that shirt on.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's okay, JB. I always love
Younger,
your
better
candor.
looking brother. Get it right.
I always love your candor, JB, and at least to tell it straight. But tonight, I had fish for dinner, and I didn't mind talking about pro fishermen as well. So
I had salmon last night for dinner, but
well,
that doesn't mean I want to talk about fishing.
Predominantly. Okay, I said my piece about fishing.
I could give a line about fishing, but it's not about fishing, and you won't like it.
Hey, the only way you know about fishing is you said the word line.
Right.
All right, Candy, you want the last word on this one before we go to parting shots? Because I know JB has a baseball parting shot now that he has it.
Of course, always.
Okay, good. Okay.
I know less about fishing than I do about pro bowling, Jeremy. My extent of fishing would be going to the store and grabbing up some fish that way, and cooking it up. Like Scott said, I cooked it up tonight for both of us. So who knows though? I mean, normally if you're a sports person, you're a sports person and you're competitive. If you have that competitive gene in you, you're going to, go all out in whatever you decide you're going to enter any contest, whether it be a hot dog eating contest or baseball or hockey or fishing. A competitor is always a competitor. And that's the one thing I can say in my family. I grew up with we're all competitors.
Well, I mean, think about all these athletes that are investing into pickleball. Now you got one doing the pro fisherman. Hey, got to give these people credit. Like you say, JB, the competitive side will never leave. Well, with that said.
Hey, Candy, real quickly, did he look at your little fish that you guys were cooking tonight or whatever and say, I know what we could talk about?
No, he actually had the all of them out on a sheet before I even told him what I was cooking for dinner.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? While we have the time, okay, we'll talk about our sports town of the week. And I really like this one. Seattle on a scale of 1 to 10. Well, we'll talk about the Supersonics. I hope they come back. And of course, the Mariners finally broke a playoff drought. The Seahawks I've always liked, and Kraken are the new team on the block. And the Sounders have done well. So, JB, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you like Seattle?
8.5. I think it's a great city. It's not a huge market, but they support their teams. They like good sports. They like they like winning. I like the city. I've been there. It's beautiful. I'm all for Seattle.
Okay, well, and I guess at some point, how long do you think it'll take before the Supersonics wind up back there? They got 3, and obviously hockey was smart when they got back in the business there. What would you say for the Supersonics?
CJ Stroud was still on the board. I looked at trades. We didn't take trades.
Well, whose noise is that?
I hear football stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to listen to football stuff. Sorry. I was in the background. I'm just trying to listen.
Okay.
But anyways,
well, hold on, JB, Supersonics.
Yeah, I mean, probably within 4 to 5 years. I mean, they've been trying to bring it back for a while. The NBA hasn't done any expansion for a bit. I don't know if they're looking to expand anytime soon. And I don't see any teams moving anytime soon either. So I would say give it a few years, between 4 to 5.
Well, the biggest thing they solved there was they got the stadium situation worked out where the Kraken and Sonics would play. All right, let's go over to Jacob, Seattle, 1 to 10.
9. I mean, it's like I watched a 3-hour documentary on YouTube on Seattle Mariners and just their crazy history and all the stuff that they've dealt with and the losing and all that kind of stuff and just weirdness. And that fan base just sticks with them. They are just, and then the 12th man and the Legion of Boom, those. The Supersonics had crazy fans. So yeah, it's a 9 out of 10 to me. And as far as getting the Sonics back, 5-6 years. It's because when they called the expansion, it takes an extra year to be able to do a vote, and it takes an extra couple of years to get everything ready for it. So about 5-6.
Okay, Jeremy, you're next.
I give them a solid 8.5. There are 3 out of the 4 main sports, and once they get a basketball team back there, they will be great again. They'll be up at that 9-10 level. But I agree in the 4 to 5 years, and I think they need to put a team possibly in Albuquerque as well, because that's a growing market now. And Jeff Bezos wants a professional team from something, and that would be a good way to balance it out and give 32 teams in the NBA.
So give me the number.
You know who would be a great logo for that? Bugs Bunny for Albuquerque.
He did. He said 8.5.
Oh, you said 8.5? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Candy.
I'm going to say 8. As of 2023, the city of Seattle enjoys a total of 21 national and international professional team championships, including 1 Stanley Cup, 1 NBA championship, 1 Super Bowl, 4 WNBA championships, 4 U.S. Open Cups, 1 MLS Supporters Shield, 2 MLS Cups, and they support all these teams. So, I think it's a really nice place. I've actually never been to Seattle, but I think their fans really support them. So,
Yeah, I've actually been to Seattle once. I saw the Sonics play over at the Seattle Arena at the time, which is right next to the Space Needle, and I saw the Seahawks play at the Old Kingdom. It was unbelievable. So, you know what? I'm going to give it a 9.5. I am with the final half coming with the Sonics, and I'd like to see them get it within 3 or 4 years. The stadium's there. All right, well, now we have a parting shot. So we're going to start off with JB Ellis, who's chomping to talk about baseball since I didn't do it and substitute it for fish. Go ahead, JB.
I'm sorry. Is there a pitch clock? I think I got 10 seconds left. I think I'm going to throw to first. I'm going to use my timeout. I'm going to get thrown into the game because I called timeout and the umpire didn't see it. What is wrong with MLB and Rob Manfred? Will the owners finally realize to fire this guy before he destroys the game anymore? Right. They're taking money out of their pocket with these 2 hour and 15-minute games that people don't want to go to the concession stand to get a hot dog or whatever they choose, the beer or whatever, because they're going to miss 3, 4, 5 innings of the game because it takes time at these concession stands. To top it off, the pitchers don't seem to be in rhythm. The scores seem to be up. It's a lot more difficult with, being in rhythm with the catchers. The stolen bases with the limited throws to first are up right now. I think there were more steals at the beginning of the year compared to many years ago. It's just very
just from
bad.
last year. Just from last year, JB. Last year, there was 23 completed stolen bases on 43 attempts. This year, there's been 70 out of 84 in opening day weekend.
Listen, Rob Manfred needs to go on a long vacation, maybe take care of European baseball, let them get into it. Great Britain needs to develop their program. Rob Manfred, go to Great Britain, develop baseball in Great Britain, but you're ruining the American game. Be God.
Okay, sounds good. All right, Jacob.
I brought this up on one of my pundit minutes right in between going to these over and on the TikTok. But Jake the Pundit won, by the way. I brought this up. The Shaq they had a little story on Shaq bringing up that Larry Bird needed to be kicked off the top 10 of all time. Now, here's the deal. Here's the thing with this. The last time Bird played was 1992. Much as he's been my hero all my life, here's the deal. He's 65 years old now. And then he'll be 66 in December. And just think about this. Last game he played was in the Olympics in 1992, summer of 92. And that's over 30 years. No one in the league was around. Maybe they were one. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they were one. No one knows. And if they watch on YouTube, they're amazed at his game. But that was short shorts, a lot of rough play, and some crazy production values from that time compared to what they're used to now. You can't put, as much as anything, I'm just going to say this. You can't blame Shaq. You can't blame Devin Booker. You can't blame any people for saying these things. And just the fact that Bird's been on top 10 lists for 40 some odd years now, from starting his game and after retirement, it says enough. And if he stays in the top 25 all through my lifetime, that'll say it all. That just shows the impact he's made in his life and his game. So who cares what Shaq says? Is like just the fact that he's still on these lists says it all. It doesn't matter either way.
Very good. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy. The floor is yours.
You know, I don't have a parting shot. I don't. But you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say what you usually skip me on at the end of the show. Let's have our viewers try every day to be a better person than they were the day before, because that's the only way to make the world a better place.
I like when your parting shots are commenting on JP's and Jacobs. You are as shrewd as I ever get, Ballreich. I swear to God. You're all right in my book. This guy here, you don't have a parting shot, but let me get a little piece of JB. Let me get a little piece of Jacob. Yeah, all right, Candy. And then you know what? Because you don't have one, you can get a little piece of Evelyn's action. You can get a little piece of mine. Go ahead, Candy.
So I have two, and one is in honor of Rick Curdy. This one's for you, Rick. Congratulations to the Miami Marlins and Sandy Alcantara for letting him pitch a complete game in his second game out there. 100 pitches, complete game, shutout. Good job,
Awesome.
Sandy. Good job, Marlins, for letting you pitch the whole
You said a key thing. 100 pitches.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Skip Schumacher also had a part of that. He let him go too.
No. When the 100 pitches, that's the
yeah.
pitch count that they talk about for pitchers now to keep them from needing Tommy John surgery or shoulder surgery or wrist damage or hand damage. That 100 pitches is key. If he'd have went over 100 pitches in the seventh inning, I bet you he'd have been pulled.
Well, let me tell you one thing. I've seen
Ross pulls 84 pitches from Jeremy Steele. Or Steele, you know what I'm talking about, JB. He pulls it after 84 pitches, and they lose.
Well, I'll say this. Candy,
We'll get to that. We have a lot to talk about that later.
I'll say this. I've seen Sandy Alcantara play. He's a heck of a pitcher. He's a stud.
Yeah.
He's worth every time. All right, what's your second one, Andy?
Okay, so my parting shot is congratulations to Jim Nance. You just completed your 32nd Final Four, your last one. You're retiring from calling the Final Four. You first started in 1991. How many times do we think in our lifetime are we ever going to see one professional in the media stay that long with one event on one station? We're never going to see that again. So as you ended your broadcast, Jim Nance, thank you for being our friend. Thank you for being our broadcasting partner.
I had an opportunity to meet Jim Nance about a year and a half ago over at NS, National Sports Media Association. He's as nice a guy as he's true to who he is. I talk sports with him all the time, and I think the one thing I enjoyed asking him was this, and I even mentioned this to Dave Barnett, is would you ever consider doing baseball? And he said, absolutely not. Golf is my deal. But I appreciate you asking. No, that's one sport he didn't really go ahead and do. So you know what, Jim Nance, enjoy your
Whoa, Nelly.
And it was, I know you're waiting for that one. That's Keith Jackson. But Jim Nance was really great. I enjoyed it. And I have a few pictures on my Instagram or Facebook account as well. Well, I have one parting shot. And this is one that is definitely one that JB Ellis would never object to. And I know how to get him cranked for this one. Okay. I love getting Mr. Ellis cranked, JB Ellis. Okay. Remember, I'm the journalist and you're the entertainer to be determined later on. But here's my parting shot. The NBA has a new collective bargaining agreement. And you know what? You need 65 games to qualify for major awards. That number should have been 60, not 65. But if you want patty cake baker's man, you got him in Adam Silver. If you want 60, bring back David Stern. So is that one a little bit more timely for your sake there, Mr. Ellis? 60 versus 65? If we're up to me, I'd give him 55 because of load management.
No, they have to play 65 games to get.
That's what I said, yeah.
Yeah, you're saying you want it
I'm
to be
saying
60.
that they should have to play 60, not 65.
So why would you want it to play less?
Or no, I meant it the other way around. They should play 70. There we go.
Okay.
A little misstep there.
I was a little confused, but I agree with you. They should have to play every game that they're not legitimately hurt, or the coach, the mentions
no,
because they're not
thanks.
the starter.
Yeah, thanks for correcting me. No, I
Okay.
think they should have played 70-75. Thanks for the correction there.
I like
Because in my
70.
opinion, if
The 12 games, I understand having to rest when you just done like a 5-day straight road trip and you just come home and your stars might need a rest, but you don't rest all of them. You rest one or two here and then one or two there. I think 70 games is almost perfect because that gives them that 1 day rest after a big road trip.
Well, I'm just going to say this again, okay, and I'll reiterate what JB said. They should at least go ahead and play 70. I would say 75, but give them 70 because let me tell you, guys like AJ Green and all these guys that like to be with their durable stuff there, they're the ones that made the game, not all these load managements that are ruining the game.
Denzel Snipes, you're damn right.
Pardon me?
He said, I don't want to hear no talk. Well, he would have won the MVP if not for nope. Play your games. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Load management to me is disgusting. So yes, JB, thanks for correcting me on that. I'm human, but I will say 70 games out of 82, 75 I'd prefer, but there's no way you'll get that out of anybody these days.
No.
I think the only way you can reduce the stolen bases now with that pitch clock, going back to JB's little rant there, is to increase it to 45 seconds. That extra 15 seconds can be that look over to first base to look a guy back.
Well,
I like it because it got the game time down. That's one thing I do like. I mean, those bad games for the Tigers, the first 3 games, every game was done in 2.5 hours.
yeah, I know.
Hallelujah, they couldn't hit worth a damn.
They were outscored 21-3 in that, but we don't want to get into that because we have 2 guys that need to get the confidential.
I know. I just wanted to point that out, though. But if it was a 45-second clock, that extra 15 seconds is looking that guy back on first base because 90% of those steals has been second base.
All right, let me go to the
And Jeremy, next time you don't have a parting shot, bring a shot of anything like whiskey or something, and just drink it and say that's your parting shot.
All right, let me go to the chat room before we let these guys go. Okay, first of all, thanks, Troy Gary. We appreciate your kind words. Players are getting soft, no doubt about it. And yes, Keegan Eckert, you've been on target all night. Might as well put it up there so I can even read it.
Oh,
Isn't LeBron the definition of load management?
don't even talk about LeBron, who had a season-ending injury, who came back to play because his team all of a sudden is back in the playoff hunt. We won't even talk about LeBron. We're just gonna make him the NBA superstar that we never talk about because he's a waste of breath.
Okay,
LeBron James.
We won't waste any more breath. All right, with that said, JB, let everybody know how they can get a hold of you.
JB_ the program, at Sideline Sports 1 on Twitter. Make sure you're following us. Subscribe. Confidential at 10 o'clock. Make sure you're there.
Jacob
Christner at SidelineSportsNet.com now. I am also Sunday nights, the Basket Bros, Monday nights, the Pundit Views, Tuesday nights off, Wednesday nights, these 3 shows. Confidential coming up next. Thursdays, Yin and Yang here and there. Fridays, Gauntlet here and there. I should be on Friday, it looks like it. And then keep going from there.
All right, and I know JB Ellis and I will have some projects in the works in May, right, JB? And of course, I'm already. What's that?
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, and Jacob and I are working Basket Bros as well as Pundits. So I know y'all have to get over to Confidential. Good stuff for you tonight. We'll do it again next Wednesday night, although Candy will be taking my place on Wednesday night for both Pundit, and she'll be taking my place for Sports Exchange while I have some business to take care of in Tampa unless everything doesn't go through. So Candy will be sitting in for me next Wednesday night for that double.
Sounds good.
So meanwhile, good luck.
Wait till you get into my topics. Ha ha ha. Just kidding.
Oh, JB can't wait. Let me tell you, we'll see different there. And
don't forget to check those 2 guys out on Sideline Sports.
There you go. We enjoy the partnership with Sideline Sports. We expect to continue to get better and better with every.
And we'll talk about fishing there too.
Well, hey,
God help us all.
You never know. I'm on to something with pro fishing. Even though JB Ellis had a problem with it, at least he got his baseball topic in, so we didn't go baseball-less.
There we go.
All right, well, go get him on Confidential. Jeremy will stick around for another minute. With Candy and I, we'll close it out. Good night, guys. All right, now there are 3 of us. So, any closing thoughts here, Mr. Ballrock?
Well, I kind of already said it. But that being said, I've had a lot of fun. Denzel, Keegan, Troy, Gary, all you guys have been great. But yeah, you're right. Beam me up, Scotty. There's no intelligent NBA players anymore.
Well, that falls into GMTA. Great minds think alike. So, Katie, go ahead and give the information one more time how everybody can find us, and I'll be back at it tomorrow night on another edition of the Sports Exchange. Go ahead, Candy, take it on.
Jeremy, did you really tell us how they can get a hold of you?
No, nobody asked me to. So, but let me tell you, you
Then
can find
do
me
it.
on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where you can find the list of authors like Scott, George, and myself. Wow, holy crap, I'm an author. Then you can find me on Kneecap Biting with Smoking Jeremy B, where my shows are Wednesdays and Fridays during the off season, and they are Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, Saturdays during the regular season of the NFL, where I talk about NFL news and anything Detroit Lions. You can also find me on any one of Scott's shows at the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. It could be Fire Up Michigan, Fire Up Wisconsin. It could be just Fire Up. It could be Sports Exchange, Inside the Pigskin. Who knows? Because he'll just call me in.
That's true. Hey, you know what, Keegan Eckert, thanks for the kind words, and I'm looking forward to working you in a couple of weeks. So get ready to roll and make sure you have some energy, and you better know how to laugh, because I guarantee you, the only thing we won't talk about when you're on there, Keegan, will be fishing, because we got it out of the way. But with that,
Hallelujah.
It is what it is. We aim to be different. Keep it real. All right, Katie, take us home.
So if you liked this episode, come to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel and like all of our shows. Subscribe, like, share, tell all your friends about us. Come to our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. If you'd like to be on one of our shows, send us some topic ideas at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. If you want to sponsor a show or advertise, call Scott 954-304-4941. The audio version of our show can be heard on iHeartRadio, Apple, Spotify, Google, or wherever you get your podcast. We broadcast typically Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, sometimes even Saturday. You can catch Scott's latest edition, Sports Exchange, with former coach of FAU, Mike Jarvis. He did a one-on-one interview. He also had former ESPN sports broadcaster, help me with the name?
Dave Barnett.
Dave Barnett. If you want an all-female show, you can head over to 3 Chicks in a Pod or Chicks in Salsa Tuesday nights at 7:30, and you can normally catch me unless I'm taking the night off. Otherwise, I'm here whenever Scott needs me.
He always needs you.
There you go. That's well, Candy does an unbelievable job with the website. She puts the shows up, and you know what? Eternally grateful that she is.
Thanks for correcting my title.
Let me catch that, Jeremy. Go ahead.
I told her thanks for correcting my title. That was the only typo I had in the whole article.
That's all right.
I sit there and looked. I go, damn it!
You wear all I can say, Jeremy. You wear it well, and make sure you tell your friend Will Rock that he'll be on one of these before long.
Okay.
And like I said, Keegan Eckert, you get me in 2 weeks, my friend. So keep tuning in and keep it real, my friend.
Oh, that's going to be a football episode.
Oh, I'm sure it will. Don't worry, we're getting close.
If you got Will Rock and Keegan Eckert on the same show, it's going to have to be a football episode because we're all Lions fans.
Yeah, but Jeremy, I'll seriously speaking here, once in a while you can be serious. Okay, now's the time. I do want to point out, though, the week of April 27th, we'll be doing probably all baseball shows. We might slide in a baseball show. We'll be top heavy on football that week. I'm glad you brought that up, Jeremy. You kind of got me thinking a little bit. So I don't let the audience know that football
You're
week.
Talking about draft week, right?
You know it.
Oh.
So get your cronies ready. We'll make plenty of airtime for him. So
Will be good on there too, seeing how his team has the first pick.
Whatever. I'm sure. I haven't thought that far ahead. I got a lot to think about long before that. I got a lot of football on the college side before we get to the pros. So, hey, Snowman, better late than never. At least we haven't gone off air to say hello. How you doing, my friend? All right. With that said, on behalf of Jacob Christner, JB Ellis, Smoking Jeremy B, Candy Ebling, my name is Scott Morgan, Roth the Motor City Mad Mouth. Thanking you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. We have another Sports Exchange tomorrow. And before I let everybody go, tomorrow's Sports Exchange figures to have Jeremy on it, okay, with Chris Pirtle, George Eichhorn, myself, and Rick Curdy. So it's going to be a pretty good show. And, may not be all football, but I guarantee fishing won't be on that show. But I enjoy putting it on one time. It's a one and done, I think. All right, good night, everybody.